Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where at long last, things are beginning to happen. We managed to take over some territory up over here, and we're now working on taking over some Ethiopian territory as well. We don't expect this to be a challenge, but it is going to work up the world tension, which is going to create problems. For sure. We do have a doctrine available, and do we want to choose dispersed support, or do we want to choose integrated support? Recovery rate is pretty good. Is that only for the equipment? I don't actually care about the equipment. Manpower is what's important here. So soft attack plus 25% is pretty decent. This is just defense though. And I plan to be on the attack more than I plan to be on the defense. So I think we'll take integrated support for the moment. That'll be fine. So now we can grab, okay, our general aircraft manufacturer. We can grab this point of bomber aircraft. Sure, that seems fine. This is for our artillery, and we're going to grab supercharges. Excellent. So that looks good. How long on our Ethiopian justification? Okay, that's not too bad. That's only about 75 days. So that sounds good. In the meantime, of course, our world tension is dropping at this moment. So if we want to keep our world tension down below like 25%, we will have to chill at times. And that's fine, except that Hearts of Iron really isn't designed for chilling. Like the way that things are set up, there's only so much economic development you can do because it's a very compressed time scale and it's supposed to be a world war, right? That's very much what it's designed to be. And that's understood. We should probably have a commander here. It can be this guy. Okay, so that's all fine for now. The question is, do we want to spark a world war or do we want to just slowly and cautiously take over until we become unstoppable? The latter is obviously the smarter way to go. Very obviously. We just slowly grow until we become just impossible to stop. But I don't know if that's actually the route that we want to go. I'll have to think about that. We don't have to make that decision now. That decision would be made definitely after the Ethiopia war, possibly after a Bazin war, possibly after a couple of these wars out over here. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to be timing-wise, but it'll be later. So that's definitely something to think about, to consider, but it's not something that we need to commit to at this moment. Now, one thing I would like to commit to is changing our mobilization. We can go down to war economy. We don't need to go to total mobilization. We can't do it yet. But we can go to war economy at this moment, and I'd like to do so. So we move over to a war economy. That seems fine. And I don't want to move off of extensive conscription for now. We'll probably have to later, but for now, I don't want to do that. I do want to go down to limited exports or closed economy. We'll see if we're at war when we hit 150 political power. So we do need to grab ourselves destroyer effort. That'll be fine. So that looks perfect for now. Now, I do very much like, or rather want to attack Ethiopia here. They don't have any friends. They're trying to improve relations, but I don't think this will be anything in general. So that seems fine for now. Now, the world tension, we're down to 9.0%. Our last war was 11% world tension. So we're definitely going to be less here. I think that's very, very clear. This is going to be less world tension than our last war, but by how much is the question we need to ask. So infantry equipment reliability would be decent, but also production efficiency is very good. So I'm going to grab that for now. And that will be absolutely fine. Again, we don't expect any military problems with this invasion of Ethiopia. This is not going to be difficult for us. We're not even telling our infantry to attack at this moment. I suspect our tanks are sufficient, but we'll see. We will see. So the world tension is going to continue to ratchet up. We're even with us expecting to be down in terms of our tension generation here, I do expect that this is going to be tension positive, right? So we gained a lot from that peace treaty in terms of world tension. Overall, like I said, about 11-ish%. We do have improved artillery Mark V in production, which needs to be swapped over to advanced artillery. We'll go ahead and do that. And that's causing us some problems with our tungsten and steel, which is not surprising. So for the time being, that seems fine. I want to hop over into industry. I'm going to start doing construction 5. We need to get excavation 5 going. I'm not going to get anything else in this tree unless we wanted to get stuff out over here, but I think for now, this is absolutely fine. We could grab the improved anti-air upgrade, which we're definitely interested in doing. We'll get that going. Cool. So that all seems fine for now. The real question is, once this is done, will we be net positive in world tension? Basically, if the world tension by the time this is over 12%, then the answer to that is yes. And it's going to be over that. I'm almost 100% sure about that one. Especially if we start immediately justifying on Bazin, which is the plan. So that's fine. We're going to have to save up some political power for that, but we'll have it very shortly. So that seems good. Our justification is done as of right now. So we have war goals against Blue Nile. We also just got this unit here, which is just going to hop in here for now. That seems okay. So this is ready to go. We need to justify out over here on Bazin, but that's going to cost 47 political power. So we need to wait a couple of days before we start this war. So that looks good. We need 2 more political power. Now we need 1 more political power. And now we should have enough. Let's update this. Yep, we've got enough. Perfect. This is only going to increase world tension by 1%. So we'll get that started. And now we're going to go in and declare war on Ethiopia, which is going to be 4% world tension. Okay. So we're going to send this. We're now at war with Ethiopia, and we're up to 15%. So this is definitely still going to be positive on the world tension. We're going to have to chill eventually if we don't want to escalate the world tension. Do we want to escalate the world tension? That is ultimately the question we have to answer. We're only attacking with our tanks here, and that's absolutely fine. I'm not seeing any problem with this. They are collapsing. This is absolutely okay. Infantry Equipment 3 just finished up, and we are going to grab that as our production. So that seems good. Again, we've got a steel issue here, and it's a pretty major one. We may want to consider doing some imports. We've got free civilian factories, so why not? We might as well. So let's go ahead and import what we need from Great Britain for, no, not chromium. We need tungsten. This is from the US, and we can import some steel as well from the US, and that seems good. So we don't want to rely on those imports, because we're probably going to be at war with the US eventually. Not probably. We're definitely going to be at war with them eventually. So that seems fine for now. Let's grab long-barreled guns. There we go. And we can grab... what do we want here? Logistics company? Sure, that'll be fine. So we're pressing on in here. We don't have our infantry in here yet. A little awkward, but it's fine. And we're not in any rush to take over Ethiopia here. This is absolutely fine. We're having no problems. Their primary army is now cut off. They have no way to reinforce them. This is over. These guys are all about to stack wipe. Our tanks are more than sufficient for this. Yeah, we could have taken them over faster, but what's the point? Like, we'd just be idling anyway. So it's absolutely fine for now. So the world tension is definitely going to be dropping, and we can see over here that our justification also 235 days. So that's going to take us a little bit of time. And that's noted. So at this point, our tanks appear to have forgotten that they need to also take over the capital. So we'll order all of them to do this. There we go. Get in there, tanks. Cool. So Ethiopia has fallen. That is now fully under our control. And they capitulate. As we'd expect. So we're going to grab this. This is actually going to drop world tension. I guess because we're only taking the state that we claimed. Interesting. Well, that's all we want. So, yep, there we go. That drops the world tension, surprisingly. So that seems good. And we're going to have our army group be up over here. This is wild overkill for this. But we're just going to then frontline over here, and we're going to tell them to offensive line down to here. Cool. So how are our supplies over here going to look? It should be fine-ish. We should probably motorize here and ensure that this is connected in via high levels of rail. So we can do something like that. And then once this is converted over to our gauge, we can get that upgraded as well. So that'll be done in a couple of days here. Theoretically, anyway. So that seems fine. We'll definitely get those upgraded, and this can get upgraded as well. That'll be a useful thing, too. Okay, now we can get that going. Perfect. So that seems fine. We have free military factories. That's not surprising. Capital ship effort. Our primary issue, again, is not to do with our production. It's to do with our resource generation. So I'm not actually that concerned about it, but we could toss these factories into infantry equipment, which seems okay for now. So that's all good. Now, we do have access to the tungsten down over here. And I want to make sure the infrastructure is maxed here. It is, so that looks good. And we do have this tank unit that can then be moved down. So that's fine. Now, Bazin is no threat to us. We're just going to take them over. Do they have any resources here? No, they don't have a single resource. So this is kind of irrelevant to us. I guess we'll get like maybe a manpower or two a month out of it. Like, I'm not saying 1,000 or 2. I'm saying 1 or 2 people a month. It's not going to be very significant, and that's okay. So we're going to head on down with our tank unit here. That's absolutely going to be beneficial to us. And at this moment, we are mostly just waiting for this justification. And in the meantime, the world tension is going to drop. The question is, by how much? Well, it's not a ton. If this is correct and that's reducing by half a point per month, the tooltip's a little ambiguous whether that's the scale or the world tension reducing by half a point per month. If it's half a point per month, that seems actually about like the pace that we were seeing. That might be the actual reduction rate. In which case, I mean, we're looking at like over 2 years for this to all the way go away, what we've generated. In terms of Hoi, that's quite a long time. But in terms of most Paradox games, that's really fast. So there's definitely that to think about. Let's grab Improved Anti-Tank Upgrade 3. That'll be fine. And we can grab a new doctrine for our air doctrine. That's going to be Naval Strike Tactics. We have no choice. So that is absolutely fine. So we're working on building up our political power at this moment. That is definitely something we want to change because we're on export focus right now. So that means that we're going to want to change down to limited exports, which is going to be very useful for us because that will reduce our resources to market by 25%. So we'll be able to use more of our resources ourselves. We do have a new marine trait to take, or rather a marine doctrine to take, and that's absolutely fine. And we can also modify our officer corps. Raids available. We need to be at war with Ukraine for that. So let's not do that. Not right now, anyway. So we can add a Spirit of the Academy, and Bold Attack is pretty okay. Yeah, we'll take that for now. So that seems good for the moment, and we do have available planes and reserves. Yeah, we're working on a few transports here, and I don't care about that. It's actually irrelevant if we can't actually go after this, which is sad. I'd love to be able to. We do need to grab ourselves another tech going here. And how long before we can grab these? Yeah, that's still pretty far ahead. So for the time being, that's probably not what we want to go for. I'm just going to work on our support companies. A lot of those support companies we're not even using right now, but that's okay for now. We're taking the long tail on this, and we're expecting this to be a relatively lengthy series, so... Honestly, like I said, the smart play is to play it patient and keep the world tension low. But do we want to play smart? It's probably more interesting to not play smart. That's the thing. And that's the case with Paradox games a lot of the time. Sure, you can play perfectly efficiently and just wreck the AI over and over and over. Or you could play deliberately dumb and make it interesting. And that's usually what I end up doing. So at this point, I'm going to grab MP. That'll be fine. And the infantry division up here can be sorted in over this way. Perfect. So this is all fine for now. We're down to 12.6 world tension at this moment. And our world tension, to be clear, is still going up from our justification of Bazin. It's just going down faster than it's going up. So that is fine, I guess. What's our logistics situation at this front? It's fine. There's actually not a major problem here. It's not ideal, but it's good enough. So there's advanced computing machine finished. That's a big deal for us. So now we can just kind of grab whatever electronics we feel like. Now we don't have radar because we haven't completed the special project. We've not done anything with special projects as of yet. So that's understood. I'm going to grab improved land forts for now, and we're going to have this armored division head on down. And we should probably start building our experimental facilities. So we could put a naval facility about here. We could do a nuclear research facility somewhere back over here. Aerodynamics, I'm keeping this all within our capital region here, and this is probably not a smart thing to do. But again, it makes things a little more interesting. So we'll do that for now. Okay, secret weapons. Let's go on that. So those are all underway. They're going to take a while to build, and that's absolutely understood. So this is fine. We're going to push in and take Bazin. Our next target is probably the Arabian Peninsula and all of the stuff that's out over here. We've got Bahrain, we've got Trucial Coast, we've got Hormuz, we've got Mara, Taiz, Yamama. All of this we want to take over. That's all a relatively high priority, in fact. So we'll get that done. We can look at the resources that are out over here, and we can see there's a little tungsten here. That's convenient. And there's a whole lot of nothing everywhere else. So there is that. Out over this direction, I'd like to take over some of this stuff, but a lot of this is colonized territory, right? And that becomes a little bit tougher. So for right now, honestly, I'm content with just slowly taking over these areas. Getting our compliance up in these states is going to be very beneficial for us as well, because that boosts our local non-core manpower. Not by a huge amount, to be clear, but it does boost it. So that will ultimately be a very good thing for us. Now, our overall manpower at this rate is, I think, increasing, which is good. We definitely want to increase our manpower numbers because we're going to have manpower issues when we start fighting Ukraine, United States of Europe. France and Great Britain might be a little bit more sympathetic to us at this moment, but Ukraine and the United States of Europe are probably going to look to team up against us, and they might bring some of these with them. The main problem, of course, is these are not independent. They're still part of Great Britain and are fascist. Because Britain is fascist. Well, these guys are non-aligned, but these guys are probably going to be leaning towards us. So that's very interesting indeed. How long until we're done with our justification on Bazin? The answer is about 100 days. Okay. So that's understood. Improved anti-tank upgrade has finished. We could go for these. These are only half a year ahead of time at this moment. I'm going to grab it. Advanced anti-air, getting those level 3s building and stocking up on our supplies of level 3 equipment is very, very useful for the sort of long war that I tend to fight. So we'll definitely get going on that. And we would definitely also want to get lightweight barrels going here. That's just very, very good. Consider it done. Excellent. So we also have our tank manufacturer here. We can grab armor and hard attack, or soft attack and production output cost. We're going for armor and hard attack, for sure. So that seems fine for the moment, and we're just kind of chilling at this moment. We are down to 11.6% world tension at this moment, and it's going to be about 3 more months, so we're expecting that to get down to about 10% by the time we finish this. Again, this is going to be net positive, I think, on the world tension. So that's definitely going to be a thing. But for now, it's not high enough for anything to matter. So that's absolutely fine for the moment. Well, they might start sending, like, expeditionary forces at a certain point. If that starts happening, then we should definitely think about chilling. If we don't feel like we can take on the entire world. Which at this moment, I do not feel like we can take on the entire world, to be clear. We're relatively strong, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we can take all of the big boys teamed up against us. Portugal, Ukraine, France, the United States of Europe, Britain. Now, we have to consider maybe Britain and France would be willing to team up with us against the others. And in that case, we might be able, like, that axis of Britain, France, Israel, that might be capable in this situation of taking on the rest of the world. And that's not even counting Scandinavia, who would also probably be leaning towards us. So there is that factor to consider as well when deciding whether we want to chill or not. Right now, again, we don't need to make that choice. So for the moment, we're going to be going collectivist ethos here. We don't meet the requirements for this. Why don't we meet the requirements? Requires political effort. Oh, right. We have to take that first. That would help matters. Speaking of which, we have enough at this moment to drop down to limited exports, which we are delighted to do. So we'll get that done, and now we can see that we no longer need to be trading for steel. We may not need to trade for tungsten. I think we need to partially trade for tungsten still. So let's go to our trade window, and we can back off on our steel. There we go. And then for tungsten, I don't think we need any of that either. We're now technically self-sufficient for our resources. So that is extremely good. No doubt about that. But we are going to get even more self-sufficient. So that will be wonderful as well. Everything's looking good here. We just need to get this justification finished up. That's all we're waiting on. So for now, I definitely don't want to chill. For now. But that a time may come when we calculate that chilling is the best move. We'll see. For now, expeditionary task forces sounds fantastic. That gets our marine doctrine fully filled out. So that's great. And of course, we're going to have this done in, well, about 40 days here. So that's not too bad, but it is about time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to attack Bazin, and we'll see where that puts the world tension. I think we can get at least one more conquest before we have to seriously consider whether we want to chill or not. And it'll definitely be a consideration. There's a lot of factors that go into that. I don't know if that's going to be the right call or not yet. We'll see. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.